Hi guys, I want to welcome all of you on behalf of Team Inside IIM to this very special edition of Yobo Live. Um, Today's edition is very special because we have some very special people as panelists today. These are students who are the very best from the current batches at some of India's top business schools, and they've been voted amongst the best 30 most employable graduates at Inside IIM as a part of the Inside IIM competition that we conduct every single year. So I want to welcome all of you to this very special session. I want to welcome all of our panelists also to this very special session. This will be a two-part session. The first part will be concerned with a very elaborate discussion around how to actually go about the personal interview process. How do you actually prepare for the tough interviews that lie ahead of you? And the second part of the interview, we'll have our students from the best 30 winners actually talking about their summer internship experiences, their PPO journeys. They'll be talking about their campus lives, and they'll be talking about how they actually prepare for their summer placements. When they join their institutes mid-year. So without further ado, I just want to dive into this, and I want to start with Aishwarya. Aishwarya is from IIM Ahmedabad. She scored a 98.5 percentile in CAT. So Aishwarya, my first question to you is, so regardless of whether I'm preparing for CAT, not preparing for CAT, or if I've gotten an IIM call, not gotten an IIM call, every single person wants to know and read about an IIM Ahmedabad interview experience. It's exciting. I myself have spent hours just on Quora, just reading about these exciting and sometimes intimidating interviews at IIM Ahmedabad. So, could you share with us briefly your interview experience and a little some tidbits about how you actually went about preparing for your interview?
Right. So hi guys. So talking about my interview experience, actually, even though when I went in, I was a little scared, like what is going to come up, but it was very delightful, frankly. And they were very friendly, and it felt more like they wanted to know you and they wanted to know about what your likes, dislikes were, and how engaging you are, more than trying to grill you. And for me personally, they touched upon a lot of topics, beginning from my acads, my projects, to my interests, hobbies, even about the city that I live in. They asked me questions about Mumbai, classes them in Mumbai, what is that I picked from Mumbai as a learning, etc. So overall, though it was very diverse, the interview, they spoke about a range of topics, but it was very delightful. It was more like an engaging conversation rather than actually something that they're trying to grill me, or how they talk about it's like a scary interview process. It wasn't like that actually. And talking about the preparation, there was this one thing that I had in mind when I was preparing. You have to prepare very rigorously, like it's a matter of life and death. But when you go to the interview, you really have to calm your nerves, because then if you take that pressure along with you, it'll really not work for you. And for the preparation, frankly, I just started reading about topics and stuff that interested me, and eventually started building a book where I had all of the GK topics or things that interested me, and I kept revisiting them whenever I got time. So that is something that I did through the CAT prep. Simultaneously, I was preparing for my interview as well.
Okay, brilliant. So, Aishwarya, one question that I really wanted to ask you was, uh, throughout your interview, did you feel that there was that one single thing which really drove things your way, which actually which actually helped you the most to actually convert your IIM Ahmedabad interview? Was there something about your preparation or something about that you did in the interview which you felt really helped you?
So, frankly, I think the thing that really worked for me was when they asked me about the projects that I undertaken in my undergrad. So they were very interested to know that what I had done and how I had done it. And when I explained that what I like my undergrad project and how I had gone about it and what were its applications, etc., it really gave them that vibe. According to my understanding, that I was really keen and interested in whatever I was doing. Probably like I would give 100% in whatever I'm currently doing. So frankly, whatever you're talking about, you should know very well about whatever you've done in the past or something that interests you. Like they asked me questions about tennis and patterns in tennis, etc. So if you ever show interest or about a hobby or something that you've done earlier, be sure that you actually know about it and it's not just something that you're bluffing. And frankly, if you don't know something, the best thing is to admit that you don't know rather than bluffing. So honesty really goes a long way for the interviews, frankly.
Thank you so much, Ashwarya. Those were some really good insights. So, guys, now we'll move on to students from really good B schools, some other students from really good B schools, including Shashwat, who's actually scored a 98.7 percentile in ZAT and a 99.38 percentile in CAT, and he's finally now pursuing his BM course from XLRI. So, Shashwat, what I really wanted to ask you was that from what I understand that you're a fresher. So, what exactly, as a fresher, was your preparation strategy to actually crack, the XLRI interview? And I also understand that you had interview calls from a couple of other institutes as well. So, was your preparation strategy different from institute to institute,
Mhm.
or was it just the same across the board? Help us out.
Yeah, thanks, Chirag. So, guys, hi, I'm Shashwat, and currently I'm a second year student at XLRI and business management. So, starting with the question, so guys, interviews are interaction. So, you can't predict an interaction, and preparation for interaction or an interview needs to be holistic. So, whether you have a call from whether it be colleges from top IIMs, CAP IIMs, XLRI, or NMIMS SIBM, the preparation will be more or less same because the panelists will be the professors, faculties, or senior members, and you will be the same person. Nothing will be changing other than the institute. So preparation specifically as a fresher is the from the perspective of the panelist. What I feel is they try to get the seriousness as how good you are as a candidate by judging you on the basis of how you good were in your undergraduation. In undergraduation, not only academically, like in terms of technical knowledge, but in terms of your positions of responsibilities or extracurricular activities which you have done. So on these angles, if you will prepare for in terms of like positions of responsibility or different roles or events you have organized in your undergraduation, and able to prepare a good narrative and present it well in front of the panelists, at the same time have a basic idea about the, if you are an engineer, if you have a basic idea about the branch in which you are pursuing an engineering, will definitely be an add-on to prove your metal in terms of as a good candidate.
Right, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense, Shashwat. So, I actually wanted to ask you one add-on question, which was a very specific question, which is asked in almost every single MBA interview. It's probably the most simply put questions. It's one of the most simple questions that one can ask. It's also one of the most powerful for an MBA candidate, and it's also one of the most intimidating because of how open-ended it is. And this is, tell me about yourself. So I find it very difficult in my head even right now to be able to condense my entire life, professional, personal, into a narrative. So how does one actually go about creating a narrative about yourself that can actually help you lead the interview into a direction where you wanted to go?
Absolutely. So starting with just looking at the question from the perspective of the panelist. For example, it's the filler question when a candidate comes in and sit, the panelist just says, just tell me about yourself. And by that time, they're glancing through your documents or your profile and the way you will introduce. And as most of us are engineers and specifically having more or less similar profiles, so if you will include something which is very different as a candidate, for example, if you are good at some sports, if you are good at particularly some new hobby or something. For example, me, I was more into radio jockeying, so that was an X factor which differentiated me from other candidates who were lined up in the panel. So that thing definitely catches attention from the panelists, and they go ahead and discuss more about that, because from their perspective, when something different comes up, they would like to know more about it, right? And one more benefit of getting discussed the things in which you are good at is like it's your area compared to the panelist. You are more comfortable in sharing that thing. So if you are driving the discussions, towards those areas at which you are good at will be definitely an add-on, and overall the experience, the feel of the as a candidate will be better than other people. So try to include those stuff which are little interesting, which are which are little different for you compared to other candidates, and also which will help you to drive the interview in your area.
Right. So to summarize, essentially, you're saying that an interviewee should be able to direct the entire interview to something different and also interesting, and something that they're really good at.
Yeah.
And to right. Okay, thanks a lot, Shashwat. That's some brilliant insight again. So in this particular slot, the last person I want to ask a question to is Surbhi. Surbhi is from NITIE. She scored a 97.59 percentile in CAT. So Surbhi, what I want to ask you again, like I asked all the other panelists, is that what exactly was your approach to cracking the NITIE interview, especially in my mind, since it's a specialization course. Is there some is there some special tactic that you've used, to crack the NITIE interview? And also, if you could you also touch upon a very commonly asked question, which is where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because once again, this is a mind-boggling question, because again, based on how open-ended it is, because how can you possibly know, how can you be so certain about where you see yourself in 5 years? So how do you answer a question like this? And also please share your preparation strategy.
Sure, Chirag. So I'll just take up your first question first of all, like that, what preparation needs to be done for NITIE interviews. So frankly speaking, NITIE interview does not specifically fix on a particular branch. It is just that they are having a paper in front of you, like in front of them. The paper is your CV, and every question they put forward in front of you is from that paper. This is, I'm really sure. The first question that they put up usually is, tell me about yourself, that most of us people know. But they also know, like somewhere I believe that the professors know that we are students, we are not professionals, so we do not have to be that much creamy in our answer. We just have to be trustworthy, we just have to be like very transparent, and like Aishwarya said, that we do not have to like we do not have to fake anything, because if we fake anything, they have that much of the knowledge that they can pinpoint it at any moment. So that would be the biggest mistake, that if a person does that, is to fake any part of your profile. So just do not do that. Otherwise, just go through your CV, like simple questions. If you are a WorkX person, so then about your work experience, some details about the challenges like you faced in the work experience, some details about like what were the key moments in your work experience, so that it makes the interview a bit interesting. That comes from a perspective of, if you are a work experience person, like I have a 2 years of experience, so most of the questions I was asked was around my experience. Now, if you are a fresher, then most of the questions will be from your academics. So what I believe is that for NITIE interview, you have to be aware about the surrounding, like the usual, what we say, general awareness about the subject which you are representing, like the branch of because in NITIE, there are all engineers. So the branch that you are carrying forward, you must be aware of your branch, and you must be aware of the experience or the project that you are taking forward. So I hope so that this should answer most of the questions for a NITIE interview perspective. And coming to your second question, that is about the 5 years, where do you see in yourself in 5 years? Definitely. This was a question that I would say second most difficult after tell me about yourself. That is the most difficult question. This would be the second most difficult question. But what I have understood after giving a lot of B school interviews, a lot of interviews for the companies as well during the SIPs and other things, one thing I can surely say is, nobody knows where you will be after 5 years. Even the professors do not expect you to be very sure of where you will be after 5 years. But yes, you should be knowing, like today, if I am appearing for a B school. So 2 years I'll be in B school. After 2 years, I'll be in some corporate. In that corporate, I'll be like for 1 year, mostly there'll be an empty period, like that is a management trainee period. After 1 year, you will be on a basic level. So just calculate. It is not that you have to just say you don't have to put flying saucers, which we say that after 5 years I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll be an area sales manager or a zonal sales manager. It's not very, yes, you can be there, but they just want a very feasible answer. So see, after 5 years, if you are entering a B school right now, after 5 years, you will be most probably you would have completed 3 years in a particular organization. So 3 years means 1 year of empty period and 2 years in your role. So you will be very much aware about your role. You will be aware about the cross-functional roles, how you'll be dealing with the other departments you are dealing with, and then slowly you might be able to grow more. So this is what I think they want to hear about, how you will be seeing yourself in 5 years. And just three things I want to mention: that clarity, communication, and confidence is what they want in your speech while you are doing an interview. And this is same for B school and the other interviews as well.
So clarity, communication, and confidence, right? So that is something which I'm sure a lot of our aspirants actually watching this session right now would be breathing a sigh of relief, that they now have some idea on how to answer this very, very complex question. Thank you so much for your insights, Surbhi. Sorry, I mentioned that Surbhi was the last person I'll ask the question to, but we also have another member of the Best 30 team. I want to introduce you to Shelja, who's from IIM Kozhikode and has attempted exams like CAT, GMAT, IIFT, and ZAT, and has done exceedingly well in every single exam. So Shelja, I wanted to pose the question to you about your IIM Kozhikode interview experience, because when I've personally read so many of those interview experiences, and every single one of them has been more intimidating than the last. And so I just want to get you to elaborate on your interview experience. And I also want you to touch upon something which a lot of people neglect, not just for interviews but even for exams, which is your general knowledge and your understanding of current affairs. So how much does a B school interview panel actually test you on your GK and current affairs, and how do you prepare for something like that and actually tackle the interview?
Sure. I think the second question actually, somewhere fits into the first question, because the IIM Kozhikode interview experience had a lot of GK in it. Like, apart from the CV part, like the resume, the work ex details, they grilled into everything. And also they try to put you in a situation where you actually are like compelled to contradict yourself. So suppose I would like to, recite an instance wherein it was really challenging for me to prove my opinion to them. So they were constantly, trying to prove that I am not a feminist, or I don't believe in the equality of
so going
women
against
in the
your
professional
opinion.
world. Yes. So they kind of try to trap you with the, interesting conversations and, contradicting opinions. They try to, probably like put you in a trap. But then I think one thing that always works out is, no matter what, you should always maintain your calm and composure, and you should always stick to one opinion. You should not, like, as as Surbhi rightly pointed out, you should have like really good clarity in your mind for tackling all those kind of traps. Secondly, what I was asked upon was my industry work although it was only 10 months, but they really grilled me on what kind of competitors are there in the industry, what do they do, what are the latest trends in that industry. Apart from that, there were quite a lot of GK questions to answer the like second question as well. So they asked me like who developed the internet, what were the team of scientists consisting upon. So I did my graduation from NITIE Surat, so they asked me a lot of questions about Surat, how is the city, how's the administration, the history about it. So what I think is they're not looking for the right answers every time, because they don't expect to know, they don't expect you to know everything about all the things. But then you should have some opinion about it. You should not run entirely blank. And even if you don't know the answer, the more important thing is you should be confident and maintain your composure. You should like politely probably say that I can't recall right now, or could you just give me some more hints upon it, something like that, but never lose your composure.
Okay, thanks a lot, Shelja. Very insightful again. So I want to just, before I bring on the other panelists from our other esteemed business schools, I just want to throw it out to all our panelists, and any one of you can pick it up. What is your opinion on the answer, I don't know, in an interview? Do you think that that is something which really goes against you, or is it something which, it puts you in a more honest position, so that a panelist is actually able to gauge कि अच्छा ये तो honest है, इसको नहीं पता है, तो he's not telling, he's not faffing, he's not giving an incorrect answer just for the sake of answering that particular question. So what's your opinion on I don't know?
So frankly, I don't know. It really doesn't go against you in an interview. I think when you're in that interview, you really have to judge that the question that has come, there'll be two things. Either you can make a very close estimated guess to that answer, or you can't. So that is a judgment call that you should take there and there in the interview. But I really don't think that an I don't know, or probably something that you can't recall, goes against you. It's better to have a very close guess or not answer completely, rather than, as you said, fluffing something or giving something that might work against you. I don't know is a much safer option, frankly.
Yeah, adding to what Aishwarya just said, so if it's very personal to you and it's very close to you, like it's assume it to be like you are knowing it. But if it's like a general knowledge or current affair thing, then it's completely fine. Like everyone doesn't know like everything, right? So if you're not able to like say that, you can say I don't know that particular thing. Can I make a intelligent guess? And you can just try it out if something is in the back of your mind. So that's the thing which I tried, and I think it worked once or twice, because that intelligent guess was quite close to what the real answer was.
A very safe answer, would I think, and I have many a times that I have also used it, is you can say, sir, I'm not really sure about it, but this is as per my best of my knowledge, as per the best of my knowledge. Or otherwise, you can say, sir, I'm not really sure about it. Very simply, you can say that.
I think when you really don't know the answer, although they expect you to know answers regarding to your work ex industry and the academics that you have recently did, uh, even if you don't know it, I think saying what Surbi or others already said would actually place you in a much better position than bluffing. So I think bluffing should not be done. So anything like even if you are expected to know it and you don't know it, saying it confidently and clearly probably might put you in a much better position than anything else.
Guys, thank you so much for your insights, Aishwarya, Shashwat, Surbi, and Shelja. Now like to bring on our other panelists who are from esteemed business schools like SPJIMR, IIM Calcutta, IFT Delhi, and IIM Kozhikode, to give us a lot more insights into their interview experiences, their interview preparation, and other related questions that I'll be asking them. So could I please request the other panelists to turn on their cameras, please? Welcome, guys. So I want to start off with a very specific question about the interview process, about a very specific interview process of one of India's top business schools, which is SPJIMR. So I want to start off with Sanjeevan, who's scored a 97.9 percentile in ZAT and actually made it to SPJIMR. Sanjeevan, my question to you is, so there is something which is unique to an SPJIMR interview. Actually, I mean, it's usually not asked in other interviews, which is your psychometric test and your group interviews. So, what are the dynamics of these two sections of your interview process? How do you handle a group interview? What does it look like? And is there a specific strategy to crack interviews like these? If you could just share with us, please.
Sure. Thanks, Chirag. Sanjeevan this side. So yes, you're definitely right that we have a very different kind of interview than other B schools. So first of all is the psychometric, where you are asked kind of different situation, different questions, and given a topic to write on, which is the WAT section. So this takes around 30 minutes. And trust me, I talked to my seniors, two or three of them, and I didn't find, all the answers and all the suggestions were different. And what I understood was it is really important to know yourself before you walk into such an interview, right? And when you know yourself, the psychometric things becomes, very easy for you, and it becomes consistent. What they look for is the consistency in your answers. Now, one question can be asked to you in three or four different ways, and if you give different answers, that shows that maybe you are faking around, you don't know yourself, or you are trying to be someone who you are not, right? And they'll just find it out during the group interviews. So first section is the psychometric one. Second is the group interview, which is different, which is not kind of a GD, but very similar. We have we'll be having like five students sitting around from different specs. Like we apply for a spec, correct? In SPJIMR, we know that we are applying to operations or marketing or finance or IIM, information management. So there will be five people from different specs sitting around. There will be two or three professors or say alumni, and they'll be asking questions individually. It's not a GD, but what you need to show is that you are ready with your answers, you are understanding what the discussion is going around, and you are also empathetic, and you are also understanding what the others are saying, basically, because the next question could come to you, and if you're not sure about it, that shows that you are not fit for SPJIMR, or you don't have those listening skills. So you need to portray that, and they will find out. Obviously WorkX is something that they look at, and and there's not too much of technical questions, to be very honest, during the group interview 1 or 2. In group interview 2 and group interview 1 is eliminatory, basically. Group interview 2 is basically more around ethics and situations, which you have this SOP, a form that you fill, basically, and there are answers that you have written. They will pick up points from that, and they'll study your profile, and they'll ask you questions based on that, and you have to show that same personality as you would have shown in your answers, right? You cannot have different answers. Now, one question which was asked to me, I'll not go into the details, but there was some situation, and what I would have done in that situation, right? And I tried to hold on my ground to one thing. They'll quiz you a lot. They'll counter question, and try to make you change your answer. But you have to be polite. You have to trust yourself that yes. And I never prepared for an interview, to be very honest. And why that is because if you try to fake, right? If you are what you are, and you cannot change yourself in just one night or say 1 week by prepping answers, you have become someone that that has taken 23 or 24 years of your life. So you have to have those stories ready from your past, and use it whenever required. So no specific preparation as such, just know yourself and be confident. So that's my take on it, Chirag.
Thank you so much, Sanjeevan. That is a very, very insightful answer. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot to take away from this. So now I'm going to go on to the biggest question, which is so enigmatic that we have so many questions and emails coming to us at Inside IIM. You must have seen a lot of it on Quora and Reddit and wherever, Pagal Guy, which is why MBA. And Mohit, I've chosen you to take up this extremely, seemingly tough question. So my question to you is essentially, so it's a very simple question. Why do you want to do an MBA? And it's also an answer you expect the interviewer to have, because you've attempted an exam, you've prepared so hard for it. So why do you want to do an MBA? So how do how do you particularly as a fresher structure and answer to this question, and connect your current life with what an MBA is going to add to your career, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, or maybe even 10 years down the line? So how do you structure an answer to a question like that?
All right, thanks for the question. So I started deciding that what I want to do post my UG around 1 year before my college was about to end, and MBA came to me in the form of CAT. I was not really very interested in MBA initially, but I was very interested in CAT because I loved giving the mock tests, and DILR was something that I was really interested in. So I only gave the CAT and the GMAT thinking that these are the exams that I can score really
well at. And so let's just go ahead and see, where this takes me. But by the time I reached the interview table at, ISB or even IIM Calcutta, I had a fairly good answer with me. And that was that while the initial inkling was that the exam that I'm good at is pushing me or, providing me an impetus to do an MBA, the real reason was that I was someone who was not expert at one particular thing, but fairly good at every single thing that he did. Right, so I was fairly good at my extracurriculars while also being reasonably good in my academics, and I felt that post your MBA, the sort of job opportunities and the things that you do uh, sort of required you to be more of an all-rounder rather than being, an exceptional cricketer or a guitar player or just really good at one thing. So for me, it was my all overall profile that really sort of provided me the impetus.
So Mohit, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce you. Mohit is from IIM Calcutta. He's a CAT 99.64 percentiler. Thanks a lot for that answer. But Mohit, an add-on question is that, if you had to think of about, one or two introspective questions to actually answer a why MBA. So you see, tell me about yourself is more personal, and, it requires you to introspect about, who you are, holistically. Why MBA, needs you to introspectively question, your career choices. So what kind of questions should one be asking themselves, when you're creating an answer to this particular question?
So you can create a map for yourself, right? And have the axes marked as academics or extracurriculars, etc., etc. And using that map, you can, you sort of come to a realization that you've continuously been extremely good at one particular thing or many different things. And then when you look at the career choices, you sort of look at those points on those maps as to, if you've been very good at, say, a specific kind of subject. So for instance, if you've been extremely good at, liberal arts and social studies, then maybe a great career choice would be the civil services, right? So on the basis of those points that you map on the graph, you can sort of come to a really good introspective question. This mapping technique is something that's even taught to us, post coming into IIM Calcutta. So I would highly recommend that.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mohit. So we also have with us Fayaz Ahmad, who's from IFT Delhi. He scored a 99.37 percentile in IFT. So I have the same question to you, which I asked Mohit. How do you answer why MBA? Now the difference is that we have Mohit is a fresher, and there are distinct things that he's focusing on, but you have 3 years of work experience with HPCL. So how do you, as a experienced professional, now connect your career aspirations and ambitions, your current career position, to what an MBA will eventually adding to your profile? So how does an experienced professional justify their need for an MBA? Faz, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Sorry for that. Like I'm traveling, so I joined through mobile. So yeah. Coming to a question, like I had 3 years of work ex with HPCL. So when the panel was asked, just I was a little bit honest in this particular part. I told them that I joined a PSU hoping that I get a lot of things to learn. But in the initial, after 1-2 years, the learning part has really faded. So I thought like uh, uh, it would be really helpful for me, and because like when your job is like it has become like daily like road kind of thing. So I thought like it would be better to do MBA. So I was honest on this part. I told them that I wanted to have my learning going on, and I also told them that there will be very good prospects rather than just having some sedentary life in PSU. So that's how like I went about it, and they were like pretty convinced with respect to this particular part.
Okay. Thank you so much for your answer, because I mean, I hope that Mohit and Fayaz's answers have, brought some clarity. They've brought some clarity to me about why MBA. So I want to conclude this particular section of this webinar by asking the last question to Debayan, who's from IIM Kozhikode and has scored a CAT 98.22 percentile. I also want to mention before I dive into the question that Debayan has featured on Inside IIM in a very inspirational and motivational video, which you can check out on the Inside IIM YouTube channel. It'll definitely leave you with a lot of good vibes, so please do check it out. So Devan, my question to you is, uh, you know, something which some panelists have touched upon earlier is, your hobbies. So I understand that you're particularly very fond of quizzing and creative writing. So how do you? So when you're mentioning your hobbies in an interview, what kind of depth can you expect a panel to go into about your hobby? And when you're talking about your hobbies or your extracurricular activities, what all should you be prepared to answer?
Thanks for the question, Chirag. Hello, everyone. This is Devayan from IMK. So that is a very pertinent question that you asked, because like besides academics, all these institutions will also test you out on your extracurricular activities and even your academic achievements. So like whatever you have done, you need to know inside out, and you can expect questions from anything. So like for example, it will also depend on the kind of hobby you have. So for example, if my hobby is quizzing, then I need to have a strong understanding of current affairs and general knowledge. And when I'm saying creative writing, then I need to specify whether it's fiction or non-fiction, who my favorite author is. So like I can't even restrict to only foreign authors. So like I can't say only John Grisham. I also need to know who my favorite Indian author is. So suppose your sport is basketball, so you can't say your favorite superstar is LeBron James. You also need to know who your favorite Indian basketball player is, because you never know, the panelist might have played basketball in his younger days. So if you are writing something as your hobby and if you have some exceptional achievement in that, it's expected that you can answer these kind of questions. Now, a lot depends on how the mood of the professor is who is asking you these kind of questions, how his day has gone. But it's always good to like leave no stone unturned. And I think this is actually a good conversation starter. And this has also helped me in my summers process also. I think some of the future panelists will be talking more on that. So knowing about your extracurricular activities will help you to guide the conversation. So if you can, like in your introduction, introduce one or two lines of your hobbies, you know the follow-up question will come on that. If you have some exceptional achievement on that, if you just mention it slightly, you know the following questions will come on that. So for example, when I used to say that I'm also interested in creative writing, I used to say that I'm also a voracious reader. So I knew the obvious question would come about some like very famous books, who the authors are, and so you can expect follow-up questions. So that also buys time for your interview. So what, like if you can guide half of the interview, half of your battle is won. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Thank you so much, Deban, and also thank you so much to all of our panelists who've taken out time to actually participate in this really insightful webinar and sharing their insights and interview preparation tips. Thank you so much, and I also want to congratulate all of you once again for being a part of Inside IM's Best 30. Thank you so much. So now we are going to be beginning with slot 3 of this webinar, where where we have students again from from our list of the best 30 most employable graduates, who will be talking about their summer internship experiences and summer placement preparation strategies, and they'll also be talking about campus life, at their respective business schools. So I'll hand over the forum to my colleague Shivangi. Hi Shivangi, how are you doing?
Hi, Chirag. Thanks a lot. Hope you had a great time in your conversation today.
Yes, it was brilliant, very insightful.
Great. So thanks, Chirag, for being with us today. I'll begin the next half of our session. Hello, everyone. I am Shivangi. In today's session, we are celebrating Inside IIM's Best 30, the most employable graduates of 2021. We'll be having the winners of this title join us throughout our session today. Let me quickly get you acquainted with the graduates who will be joining us in the second half. Let me know if you see my screen. We have Isha Mittal, Niharika Gupta, Abhay Shankar, Shailesh Maheshwari, Abhinava Chakrabarti, Anish Agarwal, Bhavya Poddar, Ravi Singh, and Sagar Sani. So thank you everyone for joining today's session. Please feel free to introduce yourselves to our viewers today.
Should I go ahead?
Sure, Isha.
Hi everyone, I'm Isha Mittal. I'm studying in IIM Calcutta. I'm a second year student. I was a part of the student council in college here as the external relations secretary. I interned with BCG and secured a PPO. I got about 99.09 percentile in my CAT, and I'm a chartered accountant by profession.
Okay, Niharika, you can go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Niharika Gupta from IIM Lucknow. Thanks, Shivangi and team, for the great introduction. So I did my undergraduation from NITIE Durgapur. Then I went on to work with Vedanta Limited for 2.5 years in sales and marketing. I got 98.58 percentile in CAD post, which I joined IIM Lucknow. I did my summers with HUL, and I have a PPO with Colgate Palmolive through a case competition. That's about it. Thank you.
Okay, Abhinava and Shailesh, you can go ahead with your introductions as well.
Hi, can I go ahead?
Sure.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Abhinava. I'm from XLRI. I did my undergrad in chemical engineering from BIT Mesra, and I'm the industrial relations secretary at XLRI. And I've interned with PNG and thankfully got a PPO. Glad to interact with all of you and looking forward to the questions.
हेलो एवरीवन, सबसे पहले सबको मकर संक्रांति, पोंगल, बिहू एंड लोहरी की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. I am Shailesh Maheshwari, currently pursuing my MBA from IIM Shillong. I'm a chartered accountant. Did my graduation from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. I've work experience from EY and looking forward to the conversation now.
Okay, so Abhay has also joined us now. So Abhay, can you introduce yourselves to our viewers?
Yeah, hi, hello. So I am Abhay. I did my graduation from Delhi College of Engineering, and post working for 2 years as GS Associate in Gurgaon, I joined IIM Kozhikode. I did my summers at Uber, and I'll be joining Deloitte Consulting for the final placements, and glad to have everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you everyone for your introductions. So all of you have some really incredible stories attached to your profiles, and I would come to each one of them. Let's start with you, Isha. So you are a CA and you worked with a credit management company and before IMC. So you found socializing a bit of a task, but made your way to the student council by looking for voters. What did this experience teach you about influencing people?
So I'm a chartered accountant, right? I haven't had much of a college life. I went to junior college, but undergraduation was not a thing for me because I spent, so while everyone was partying through the Friday nights, I was probably working on auditing something. Coming to Joka really transformed me in the sense that the culture was very encouraging. And all my seniors said that irrespective of whatever your ambitions are, if you have enthusiasm for anything, or we call enthu here, कि अगर तुम्हारे पास enthu है तो तुम कुछ भी कर सकते हो. So I was very apprehensive on how I would, contest elections and all of that. But I had senior support, I had my friends support, and they said कि एक बार खड़े तो हो जाओ, and then if you really want to be, work around it, and you will be able to do it. And I did. It was very, very surprising for me to win, although even then.
Okay. What were some of the other experiences during your B school journey which really stood out to you?
For me, I think summer placements were a very stressful time. I think everyone on the call will agree with me that that's when your true nature comes out, and that's probably a nightmare to be at. because first year is when you're actually thrust into the MBA life, and second year is relatively easier to handle. Uh, that's when I had to make a choice. So since I'm a chartered accountant, I had fairly decent finance shortlists. And for me to decide that, I want to go for consult and drop finance after those shortlists was a task. And gaining clarity on what I want, gaining clarity on what I really am good at, that was very important. And mental support of your peers that time, that कर ले देख लेंगे जो भी होगा देख लेंगे, and that risk taking ability, right, that support that the culture provides, that is irreplaceable for me. So that is one thing that stood out.
Thanks, Isha. The answer was really from the heart. So, Niharika, how did you go about becoming a co-author of a marketing case, which actually got published by Harvard Business Review? Take us through that journey.
Okay, so I've actually always been really interested in marketing. So even before joining the B school, I've worked 2 years in sales and marketing in B2B. So I was really sure that I want to do everything marketing at my B school, be it joining the marketing cell here, or maybe interning with Unilever, and then doing case competitions which are more marketing related. So what I did in my second year, after getting a PPO, you relatively have a lot of free time, and you can actually do, pursue your interests, hobbies, or maybe academic learning. So I did approach a professor who does write a lot of cases for IV, HBR, etc. And then that is how, I worked with him. He has a set of clientele. So amongst one of his clients, we wrote a case together, and then it was test submitted to IV, HBR, and then that's how it's got published.
Sounds like a really incredible success journey, Niharika. So, Abhay, coming to you, during your summer internship at Uber, you optimized rider incentives and designed a playbook to capture tourist markets. And your recommendations were actually piloted at Uber Jaipur.
Yes,
So, what
yes.
is the broad methodology that you use to
Uh,
approach?
so, so I'll start with the point is that Uber initially actually had a very flat scheme of incentive scheme. I mean, they were not actually differentiating between the customers as much. I mean, if you want to think about it, think in the terms of Amazon Prime. So they did not have an Amazon Prime for Uber. So I actually went ahead and told them that there could be Amazon Prime from Uber. These are the particular customers that you should target. Use some kind of machine learning algorithms, worked around the data, and then I designed a scheme for them which they actually piloted at Uber Jaipur. So this was the broad idea.
Okay, thanks a lot, Abhay. So, Sailesh, you are a CA, but you presented a feasible business idea to Jubilant Life Sciences. How did you go forming about it?
It was a tough one, actually. So last time I did bio was somewhere in class 10. And so in this competition, the second and third round, the second round needed 2 white papers. One was regarding the plant-based proteins, and the other was regarding meat analogs. And it was totally Greek to me. So I had a good partner, and we read up a lot of things. We read up a lot of research papers. We dug in those. We contacted a lot of people, actually. We contacted a lot of industry experts. There's a organization, Good Food Institute, which is kind of pioneering or leading in providing all the startups in India a good ecosystem, and trying to bring in the knowledge about plant-based proteins in India. So I contacted them and got a lot of research insights from them. I even contacted Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods, the American pioneers, and I contacted them to get more details. And that's how I got the basic information. The final round was regarding nutraceuticals. This was something which, again, no idea. We had no idea about it. Went through the same process, contacted these people, and what we actually did was we used an Indian ingredient which is not used anywhere, and then used the skills which we learned in an MBA or plugging in a B plan, and voila, it was done.
That sounds like an incredible journey, Sailesh. So coming to you, Abhinava, so you have taught at more than 30 NGOs. So what drove you to give back to the society, and what were your major learnings from this experience?
Yeah, thank you for the question. First of all, I started when I was in my undergraduate studies. I started doing it as a bit of a weekend activity as a part of my national service scheme enrollment. But then again, I met some of those people, and those people led me to other people. So I started forming a network there. So as and when I was provided opportunities, I would do that thing. like I had nothing to do actually in my fourth year of engineering as well. So I thought, why not? And they started the journey, and I've been continuing it ever since.
Okay. So, guys, let's now come to your summer internship experiences and interview experiences. So, Niharika, you summer interned with HUL and now you are all set to join Colgate Palmolive. Take us through your interview experiences in both of them.
Okay. So for HUL, there were 3 rounds. It started with a group discussion round. So what HUL does is that they really ask questions or topics which are really relevant to the marketing ecosystem. So it's important to read as to what's going on, what brands are doing these days. So the group discussion had around 12 to 13 people, and 5 out of them were selected on spot to enter a GI round, which was a group interview round, one of its kind, which they introduced last year for us. So we were 5 of us in the group interview round. Each one of us were asked questions, a very similar SPJIMR format. So we had to answer the same questions that were directed to each one of us. And again, they were very technical questions as to, if you were a brand manager and if you were to launch a brand, how would you do it, etc., etc. So having some marketing knowledge is something that they really looked into. The third round, which was the personal interview round, was very individual specific. So it depended on your profile specifically. So it was very different for different people. For me, since I already had experience in sales and marketing, they expected me to know something around it. So my interview was mainly around sales and distribution and how I could draw my learnings from B2B and then apply it in B2C. So it was really nice, interesting, very conversational, not at all intimidating. So in short, it was a very pleasant experience. So I really enjoyed both my interview as well as my internship at Unilever. So now for Colgate Palmolive, there was a competition in our first year called Colgate Inner Circle, where you have to again submit a SOP and then have an interview. And then for 3 days, you get to go to Mumbai in their headquarters, where you're given mini projects and then they evaluate you through it. Again, it was a little marketing driven, maybe because my profile is like that. So I'm mostly asked a lot of technical marketing questions. So again, the 3-day experience is like, a sneak peek into the life of a brand manager at Colgate headquarters, which was again a super amazing experience. That is how I bagged a PPI with Colgate Palmolive, which then converted to a PPO again after a rigorous interview. So yeah, a lot of marketing interview experiences is what's really got me where I want to be.
Okay, so how would you advise students to, go about preparing for such interviews?
So if you're a fresher, they'd really expect you to have basic marketing knowledge. Like in any B school really expects you to, go through Kotler. So maybe do your basic Kotler reading well. Apart from that, I'd really like people to, form opinions on what these major FMCG brands are doing. For example, if they have new product launches or how they are innovative. Are they purposeful brands? What do you like about their CSR advertising? So not just know about what they're doing, but also have a really nuanced opinion as to whether you like it or not, or what could have been better about it. So although they don't expect you to know so much, but at least basic Kotler understanding of STP and 4Ps is a must.
Okay, thanks, Niharika. They were really some really useful tips there. So coming to you, Isha, your summer internship was with BCG. Please tell us how your interview went and how was your project during your summer internship?
My internship was online. It was very depressing to know it'll be online because consulting interns are supposed to be a lot of fun as in an offline way. My project was in the petroleum industry, and being a chartered accountant, I had absolutely no idea how hydrocarbons work, how fractional distillation works. I had no idea about anything of that sort. But the environment was very conducive. My mentor was constantly there for me to reach out to him and help me understand a lot of technical terms. I was struggling with basic terms like viscosity and temperature and pressure and how they would impact. And right, I can see Shailesh nodding because he understands my pain being a CA, right? But what you really learn at BCG is that first principles are what you really need, and everything else can be learned on the job. Uh, so that's what they really helped me do. That structure your work, and come and arrive at the next logical step. Know what you have to do and plan accordingly. Uh, everything and anything can be structured, can be broken down. And I hadn't understood why they use the word structure so much in consult. I had no idea why they do that. But when I did my intern, I realized that, everything can be broken down and everything can be achieved if you just structure it. So yeah, I think first principles application is what really helped me out, along with my mentor's help.
Thanks a lot, Isha. So coming to you, Abhay, you have received a PPI from Google, Amazon, and Accenture strategy. What is your secret towards cracking interviews?
So it's a PPI because I participated in a lot of case competition. So I mean, it was quite grilling, I would say. With Accenture, I mean, all three of them I reached the national finals. In Amazon, I actually got because I was a runners-up in my campus. So I mean, all three were through the case competitions. That's what it is.
Okay, so how was your summer internship experience, and where are you planning to go post your MBA?
So my summer internship, like I said, it was at Uber. I think it was quite a good experience. I mean, experience of a startup. You are really not aligned to one particular role, but it was quite fast-paced, I would say. And at the same time, an insight into how an organization like Uber works, because I mean, they like send two people to actually set up an entire business in one city. So something on those fronts, it was completely online. So the experience was not as, I would say, expected there, but it was still quite good. So I had an inclination towards consulting, and after my MBA, I will be going to actually joining Deloitte Consulting and their business strategy practice.
Yeah, that's really great, Abhay. So Sailesh, you have received a PPO from DE Shaw. You'll be working in their financial operations vertical. So what were your major learnings from the summer internship experience you had with them?
It was a good one, but once again, since it was online and the kind of data that they can share, it's very limited. So the kind of learnings would be very different from any other batch of interns that would be going there. But yeah, definitely they did try to do their best to give us a sneak peek of what happens in there. It's a lovely culture out there. We had a lot of sessions, fun sessions, in fact, which were organized by the teams that onboarded us. The team with which I worked, they were very friendly. So there are teams in the US as well, with whom we interacted. And one of my projects, I had to interact with them on a daily basis, kind of a thing. So all in all, people were very helpful out there. So that was great.
Okay, thanks, Sailesh. So shifting domains now, I'll come to Abhinava. So Abhinava, you have recently interned with P&G in an HR operations role for a pan-India digital transformation project, and are all set to join them full-time now. So what is your vision for the future of HR tech in the country?
Yeah, so we are getting this slowly. HR tech is picking up its pace in India. So in my summer internship, I worked on that field as well. My project was related to the pan-India digital transformation of all the plants of P&G. There are 8 plants in P&G. So there were international as well as national stakeholders here. And we were constantly in touch with the vendors outside as well as in India. So I got to learn a lot about what systems are in place in India right now, how it can be improved. And slowly but surely we are getting there. The uptake and acceptance of such technology is slowly increasing. And it is something which will pick up in the coming years. That is what I got to know from my internship. I'll be joining as an HR manager at one of the verticals. I'm not sure which one. So yeah, the vision for the future would be just bring in new technologies which are already being applied in some parts of the world. So yeah, we'll have to see how it pans out.
Okay, so I think we had a really incredible discussion today. So thank you guys for taking out time and speaking with us. I would now request the next set of our graduates to join the conversation. Wish you all the best for your future roles and congratulations again on the win.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi Anish, Sagar, Bhavya and Ravi. Please feel free to introduce yourselves to our viewers today.
Sure. So hi guys, I'm Anish Agarwal and I graduated from NITIE Durgapur, and post that I worked at IBM for 2 years, and I took the SNAP exam and I cracked it, post which I got an admit at SIBM Pune. I interned at Pidilite Industries, and currently recently I was selected as the top 30 candidate. Thanks a lot Inside IIM for that. That's all about it.
Okay, Sagar, you can go next.
Hi everyone, I'm Sagar Sani from. I hail from Rishikesh. I cracked my ZAT exam and I'm pursuing business management at XLRI Jamshedpur. I did my summer intern at Amazon and grabbed a PPO from there, and yeah, I'll be joining them soon. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Bhavya and Ravi, please introduce yourselves to our viewers as well.
Yes, thank you, Shivangi. Hello, everyone. My name is Bhavya Poddar, and I am currently in my second year of MBA in Operations and IT at SPJIMR, Mumbai. Well, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession, and I have prior work of around 2 years with Mahindra and Mahindra. And I did my autumn's internship with PNG, and I secured a PPO as well from there. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Ravi Singh. I did my undergrad at IIT BHU, currently pursuing MBA at IIM Lucknow, where I'm a part of the alumni committee. I interned with AT Kearney and secured a PPO. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, guys, so let's do something different and start our conversation by taking up a question from the chat. So we have Siddharth Singh, and he has asked us how to answer the biggest challenges you have faced, or what were your failures, and how did you actually change them to, reach your objectives. So how do you commonly answer this question?
I think, okay, I'll start. I think the key is to be honest in such questions, because the interviewers who are interviewing you are way more experienced than, so they're taking interviews for, let's say, 7, 8 years, 10 years. And the moment you try to bluff around, they can catch you. So I think I always follow this thing to be honest in such questions.
So just to add on that, I think the main reason why people ask these questions is they want to see how well you handle failures. Because even at work or in future, there will be a lot of failures, and they want to see how you've tackled these situations before. So this is the main motivation behind that. And the challenge, it's not necessary that it has to be something huge or a mammoth task, but even small challenges which you might have faced in your life and how actually you faced it. It just shows how well you handle situations or failures, and how well you work in ambiguous situations. So that is the main motivation behind these questions.
I would probably say that drawing a mind map about yourself and your particular experiences before going into interviews helps a lot in such a way as to recall your thoughts around what has happened with you. And yeah, as Anish said, being honest about yourself and just laying all your cards on the table does help, because accepting your failures itself is anyway a good strength on your part in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, even I kind of agree with whatever my panelists have said. And this was, in fact, one of the questions which PNG interview had for me. So I think what worked out for me was absolutely being honest and putting everything out. And yeah, one key thing which I noticed was I always used to end this answer with the learning. So ultimately, with whatever failure I had, whatever challenges I faced, what was the ultimate learning, and how did I inculcate it in other situations in my life? So I think that was something which really intrigued them also, and there was a lot of cross questioning on that. So I think yeah, that worked for me during my interview.
Okay, thanks a lot everyone for answering Siddharth's question. So guys, let's move on to your journeys and let's start unraveling them. So Bhavya, during your undergraduate course, you participated in Baha SAE India for 3 consecutive years. First as a designer, then a driver, and then the team captain, and led a team of 25 girls from your college. And yours was the only girls team, all girls team, I think, in the all 400 teams. And it secured 32nd rank. So how was your experience like, and what were your major learnings from it?
Well, yeah, I think you covered it pretty well. So yeah, it was quite challenging. Firstly, so my BTech college was in an all girls college, so our team was also all girls naturally. And yeah, it was pretty challenging because vehicle dynamics and vehicle building is in general considered to be quite a male oriented or male dominated field, and not a lot of girls are interested in that initially. And even if they are, I felt that parental and faculty used to pressurize us a lot to not be able to participate in that. So yeah, there were many such soft challenges that we had apart from the technicalities. But I think the key was to really find people who had the same mindset, who were as driven. And as a team captain, yes, I did have a lot of responsibilities to, keep the team on the same platform at all times. So these were there were some challenges, but ultimately we did fare well because I think our team was quite motivated to what we wanted to achieve. And ultimately that showed in our performance. So yeah, in spite of the challenges, I think we were able to give our full efforts in that.
Sure, Bhavya. And you actually made a really huge transition from your previous background to now at PNG. So we'll come to that and we'll go in depth in the later segment. So coming to you, Anish, right now. So, thanks, Bhavya. So Anish, you opened up a cafe which allowed customers to pay whatever they wanted. Tell us about the ideology behind it and your key takeaways from that initiative.
Sure. So this is actually a concept called gifting economics, and there have been a lot of theories which says that the kind of relations we have in business, it's kind of getting very transactional, and there is a need to kind of have an emotional or a deep layer towards it. And this is exactly what this experiment wanted to uncover, like how people react when they are not just being treated as customers but as guests. So in this cafe, what we did was, after the people had done eating their food, they were given with a blank bill, and they were surprised, like, it's a blank bill now, what are we supposed to pay? And we gave them an envelope and told them that you can pay whatever you want, and it's totally upon you. If you liked our service, you can pay. If you don't want, you can simply leave, and there's absolutely no obligation. And this kind of it was very surprising for the people in the beginning, and it all boiled down to how we were giving, or how was the customer experience, or the kind of service we were giving to them. And we realized that the better service we were giving to them, and the more we treated them as guests and not customers, the higher they paid after they had left. And this kind of helped us understand that even in a college environment where people are mainly students and they're not really earning, even then they have the propensity to kind of carry on this chain of generosity forward by paying forward and continuing the chain. And this was really interesting, and it kind of opened up a lot of insights about consumer behavior and consumer psychology, which kind of helped me even in my B school.
Yes, for sure, Anish. Thank you for answering this question. I think it was really insightful. So coming to you now, Sagar, you are a techie at heart and previously have launched a B2B app at 50 plus airports to optimize baggage operations. And it actually optimized by 35%, if I'm not wrong. So after MBA, how are you looking to combine your love for technology and business?
Yeah, so basically I am a computer science engineer by my graduation, and I went for my MBA also because of the very same reason, that I got the opportunity to be involved with the product teams and actually see the whole launch journey of how an app goes. The credit of the app obviously goes to the organization I was working for as well, because the project came in from there. But yeah, I got the opportunity to go through each step, giving customer demos, customer pitches, being involved with conversations with the product managers, and that's why I decided to go for the MBA. Post MBA, as in even during SIPs, my whole focus was towards joining a technological firm which can help me advance my graduation skills to the in the post graduation world. And yeah, that's why I'm very happy that I got a PPO from Amazon.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sagar. Coming to you, Ravi, you were a senior R&D engineer at Eton before IIM Lucknow, and now you are looking to pursue a career in consulting with Kearney after summer interning with them. So which role did you enjoy more?
I think to start with, when I started my journey at Eton, it was an R&D role, and I absolutely loved it because I was too much into automotive and vehicle design, etc. But I think as some time passed, 2 years, 2.5 years, I realized my career trajectory was narrowing, and I was focusing on a small valve sitting inside an engine, and I did not want to spend my energy over the next 3, 4, 5 years on a small subsystem of a large vehicle. So probably I thought I should move towards a strategic role where sort of I can diversify my experience, I can leverage my capabilities, and in the long run move towards building a supply chain or operations transformation for these automotive companies. So I think that is where I want to go now, but I have enjoyed both sides of the coin.
That's great, Ravi. So, guys, let's now shift to the summer internship segment. Anish, you summer interned at Pidlite Industries in the sales and marketing domain. How was your internship experience, and how did you prepare for your interviews?
Sure. So it was, I think the internship experience was very unique for all of us in the 1921 batch. And it was more so for sales and marketing people because all the sales and marketing people, they have to go on the field and experience the life in the field. So it was really, really difficult for us in that front. And I had two projects. The first was on market research. And the difficult part was that I had to do a market research without going to the market. So I had to rely heavily on the phone calls, whether it was the sales officers or the retailers. And there were days where I spent 4 to 5 hours just on calls with these retailers and sales officers. So, and the next part was on the sales part, where I had to kind of do a pilot of their new app which they had launched. So in this, I had to lead a team of TSIs and kind of get the downloads moving and kind of get the feedback on the app. So I had experience in both sales, marketing, as well as a tech part where the app was involved. So it was very interesting on that front. And for the interview part, I think what companies really look for is what you've done and what were your learnings. And most of the focus will be on the learning part and how you handled situations which was ambiguous, and kind of how you structured the problem down and came up with solutions for it. And apart from that, they'll maybe ask you about how you could have done it better if you were given a second chance, because that really kind of helps the companies understand how you look back and introspect on your work and kind of analyze your issues and your faults, which you can improve in the future. So I think this is another important aspect of the interview prep, where you kind of look back and find out the areas where you could have done better. So I think if anyone covers these two aspects, it would be more than enough towards cracking any interview.
Thanks a lot, Anish. So Bhavya, coming to you now, your summer internship was with P&G, like we discussed, in the market planning domain. So how was your interview experience and how was your project at P&G?
Yeah, so P&G interviews are not very technical in nature. So they are known for having behavioral interviews. So I had 2 rounds of interviews with P&G, and both of them had a lot of situational and behavioral based questions. So I think prepping for those situations and being able to, being ready to face the counter questions which the interviewer will have for you, I think that worked out for me. Coming to the internship project, so yeah, I was into market planning, and I was supposed to be building a model or demand forecasting of one of their brands, that is Whisper. So yeah, the online mode did make the project a bit challenging because it was quite a data intensive project, and I was required to do a lot of coding to build the model. And honestly, I had no background in coding at all. So I had to do that, learn that everything from scratch, and then apply it in my project. But nevertheless, my team was super supportive with me throughout. And I remember having meetings with them even at 1 a.m. in the morning and such. So I think, yeah, they were pretty supportive, and they tried to help. They tried to help me out in every way possible by giving me resources and making me contact people who would be able to help me. So yeah, in all those ways, it worked out for me pretty well. And in the end, I was able to secure a PPO with them. So yes, that was about it.
That's really incredible, Bhavya. Congratulations on that. So Ravi, coming to you, how was your experience with Kearney, and what were your biggest learnings from the internship?
Yeah, sure. So I think my experience was great. So I worked on a growth strategy CEO agenda for a leading automotive OEM. And so I was working primarily on two levers. I was working on product planning and international expansion for the client. I think what I really loved about Carney was, I think A was the accountability that I got. There was a high degree of autonomy given to me. I was supposed to work fairly independently. And I mean, always there was a significant amount of mentorship given to me. Worked with some really smart people. Enjoyed my time there. The second thing was the diversity of work that I got. So, I mean, in a short span of time, the range of work that I was exposed to was incredible. In fact, I also got to work on a industry thought paper during those 2 months. So, yeah, I mean, the experience reinforced my aspirations of being a consultant. So, yeah, I was pretty happy about it.
Thanks a lot, Ravi, for that answer. So, Sagar, like you had mentioned, you are now going to join Amazon in the marketing vertical, post completing your summer internship with them previously. So, how was your project like? Please tell us about it in more depth.
Yeah. So at Amazon, I was tasked with designing a program to boost the category sales and then go through the entire launch strategy for the same and develop a long-term plan also for that. So how the thing that I liked about it the most was they gave me full ownership, like same like Ravi said that there was a lot of autonomy on my part as well. And so the amount of ownership, I would say, my manager tasked told me that you can contact any number of people that you want. I had to uh, work with almost 7 to 8 teams, and there was a lot of guidance on in one sense. But at the other hand, my manager said you can ask whatever you want. You can take full ownership of how you want the program to be designed in that sense. And as for the interview experience, I think Amazon is very open in terms of how they judge the candidates, and they always talk about their 14 leadership principles. And I think that is the key to cracking any Amazon interview or the internship process as well.
Thanks a lot, Sagar. So, I would just like to put forward one last question before we sum up our discussion today. So, almost all of you must have had virtual internships last year, if I'm not wrong. And what is that one advice you would like to give all our viewers today so that they can make the most out of the remote working?
Okay. Okay, I'll start. So I think two things that really worked for me in the virtual setup was one was preparing a weekly plan and sharing it upfront with the team so that they are aligned. Because you are sitting at home, they are sitting somewhere else. It's very easy to misalign your 2 months journey. So I think one was that, and the second was taking regular feedback from my engagement manager. So I mean, this really helped because I mean, if things are not going as per their plan, you can reshape your deliverables in case you are missing on to some critical things. So I think these are the two tips that I would like to give people in a virtual setup. Thanks.
Adding on to that, I would say ask as many questions as you can, because the team sitting over there also knows that you don't know many of the things that like even the lingos that they use or the abbreviations that they use, it might be very common at a particular organization, and you might be absolutely blank about what that means. So feel free to ask as many questions. That just shows how curious you are, how involved you want to be, and how much interest do you have towards the work that your team is doing and your project is doing.
Thanks, Sagar. Anish and Bhavya, would you like to add on to it?
Yeah, well, I quite resonate with what Ravi and Sagar just said. So even I took it up and I made a structure out of everything that I wanted to achieve by the end of my project. And I think that structure really helped me a lot. And at the end of every day, I used to have this list of questions which I used to go take along with me to my mentors and to I used to get them clarified on a daily basis. So I think being in touch with them every day helped out. And since they are also trying to adjust to this new virtual medium, so even they are running away, they don't have a lot of time to give to us. So I think it's better to be structured in the virtual medium of internship.
Definitely.
I totally agree. I think daily feedbacks are very important, as Bhavya mentioned. So even I had something like a daily activity tracker where I used to send a small message on all the things that I had done on that particular day. So that kind of kept my mentor in the loop. And another important aspect of internship is that the mentor has to keep analyzing what the intern is doing rather than just seeing the final output. So the regular feedback, which I think all of them mentioned, is really important. And one important or something which I noticed is that these mentors are really at high positions. So sometimes people can get a little intimidating, or sometimes interns just feel a little scared to call up their mentors and speak to them. So I think that should not be there, and just keep pestering your mentor and keep calling him or her whenever you need his help. So don't refrain from just picking up the phone and calling them up whenever you need them.
Definitely. Thanks, Anish, and thanks, everyone. I personally think we had a really fruitful session today. To all our viewers, I would like to inform that we conduct the biannual Inside IIM recruitment survey, which we call the Brand Perception Study, for which we release reports that are viewed by top on-campus recruiters. So please participate and share your views on the recruitment process at your B school. We have also released and are releasing multiple reports based on the recruitment survey conducted in August 2020. So please check out those. In these reports, we have covered things like dream companies at top B school campuses, most desirable recruiters, most desirable domains and sectors. And the link would be in the description below. So thank you guys for taking out time and speaking with us. I really enjoyed today's conversation, and I'm sure our viewers did too. Wish you all the best for your future roles, and congratulations again on the win. And to all our viewers, I am Shivangi signing off for today. Thanks a lot for watching. See you all next week. Till then, take care and have fun.
Thank you, Shivangi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shivangi. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.